Good thing I, Wyatt Phillips, will never, ever have to worry about getting this curse on this week's episode of Horror Hole. I'm Wyatt, as I just stated, and who is here with me today, as always.
Oh, I'm somebody who wouldn't be as lucky. I
Uh,
am I am the star of this movie's gay porn parody, He Swallows, Cody Briscoe.
that's good. That's so good.
Thank you.
We're talking about the 2014 horror movie It Follows, which is the one that I picked after we did Jacob's Ladder, just because it's like in that short list of modern horror movies that people talk about and bring up and everything. So I wanted to check it out. I knew that it had good reviews and everything. And Cody, what's your first impression coming back to this movie?
I was very, very impressed because this movie is not one that I loved the first time I watched it. I watched it once when it first came out, and I think I thought it was okay, but I really
Sure, yeah.
I loved it this time around.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it was probably maybe not one of the like absolute best movies that we've talked about or anything, but it was still like just a really, really good horror movie and it was extremely stress-inducing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like if you have like any type of like mild paranoia or schizophrenia or anything like that, this movie is probably gonna really fuck you up, just because it's about
God.
like what if there was somebody that's walking towards you on the street? Like I have that anyway when I'm like walking at night. And I'm like a 6'2" guy, I know that I shouldn't complain, but if somebody's like walking towards me and I'm walking on the sidewalk with them at night, I always get like really stressed out. But I'd be like, no, it's more rude if I cross the street. So I'm just gonna walk by them without making eye contact. So
Oh yeah, no, I get that. I mean, especially where I live, like anybody walking up towards you, that could be the end of it.
yeah. But yeah, so this movie, it's a more modern horror movie, as I already mentioned, and it's in that like realm of modern horror, similar to some of the other movies that we talked about, like Barbarian, where it is like tapping into these fears and anxieties that have kind of always existed, but have just been like brought to the forefront more,
Yeah.
in like recent modern living. Like they're not based 100% on like pure primal fears or like mysticism or anything like that. It is just like based on these like real anxieties. And this movie specifically also has an angle of like talking about STDs or things like that.
I
Just, sure, go ahead. What are you saying?
I've always thought, like, I mean, yes, it is a thing that is sexually transmitted, but I mean,
Sure.
my takeaway from this watch is I think it's just adulthood in general is like what the thing
Yeah.
represents, because it's just all these characters, like they're all at that age where adult life is like about to start, but you are still like a kid. Like Jay,
Mm-hmm.
she's just turned 18. Her friends, they all still feel like children, although they have like a job at a froyo shop, which is very cute. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, and I
Yeah,
think like
I was looking at them. I felt that they all looked very convincingly like teens.
Mhm.
Like I know that specifically. I like checked the main character. She's like, I guess she's like a couple years younger than us. So I guess she was like 20 or something when
Yeah,
this was being filmed. So
I always picture the
um,
character as like probably just turned 18, like she's just started college. She's like high school's over. But like
yeah.
once you're at that age, there's like all of these things that you realize are like sex or death or just I don't know anything, are just these oncoming
Danger.
things that you have no control of, and that it's going to happen to everybody. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and your parents can't help you with it. Uh,
Yeah.
the thing can look like your parents even, which is
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
I think like like it being translated sexually, like yeah, that is like the STD metaphor because like that is like the big thing that like everybody has to navigate once you start getting older.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and like one of many. Like it isn't
Yeah.
the only, like that would be a pretty boring, like straightforward metaphor if it was like literally that. It's just that it has like that element to it.
Like I think
Um
this entity, I'm pretty sure because we only have like one death on screen and one attempted
mhm.
kill and then one off-screen kill. I think this like I think we're just gonna be jumping
Sure, sure.
but I think his name is Greg. He's like
Mhm.
the guy that lives across the street. Jane's kind of close with. She ends up transmitting this entity to Greg. You see it killing him.
Mhm.
It's like I think this thing like fucks you to death,
Yeah.
essentially.
That's
Like
that's the impression I got from that, and that it was like it took like the form of his mom,
yeah,
and fuck, which is like pretty horrible way to go out. Is that, and then like at the very beginning of the movie, we see like the aftermath of somebody who had gotten killed,
and her leg is
and
like
she had
up.
like yeah, exactly. She's like in a prone position on her back. I mean, she's dead. But like, but her legs are like broken and everything. So,
So gross. That whole opening is such a great little short because it's
mm,
just the tension and like just the camera doing just like a smooth turn following this character running across the street. Uh,
mm,
you were never shown like what she's running from, and it's just like the soundtrack that gives you anxiety.
yeah, yeah, and I, I don't know. Like there are elements to this that do remind me of like certain like creepy internet videos and things like that of like people like running from like horrors or horrific things, and they're like, what the hell is it, like what is this person afraid of, but like because the person who has this curse, like them and the person like right before it, I assume, are the only two that can actually see it, because we see, in the movie that
Yeah.
the guy who gives it to Jay, like he can still see it,
Mhm.
even though like he's out of the killing range of it, because it will just go, like you said, that to me is like pretty fucked up, that this thing will just like, oh yeah, you can't stop it, you can't kill it, there's no other way other than like passing the curse on to somebody else.
The lack
This
of
thing will just keep
answers.
going down the line
Mhm.
and killing everybody that is like until it gets to whatever started it, and like we just don't even know how long it's been going, or like what it is or why it's happening.
We
I like all that.
yeah. For all we know, like these are just things. It's the guy Hugh. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
like these are probably just things that he's just gathered for himself. Like, and there's no like. I think it's been called this before, but like there's a term, the Bagul scene. I'd like to coin
Right.
where
Mm-hmm.
they don't speak to a demonologist over Skype who explains that it's a Mesopotamian death god and you can defeat it if you do this and this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that whole like I think one of this movie's strengths is really putting you in that mindset of the characters. Like they are kids, they're just trying to figure out what they can do with this situation presented. They can't go to the adults, which is a classic like Nightmare on Elm Street esque setup.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and like I love horror where you only know as much as the characters do.
Yes. And I think that, yeah, you're right that the that's a good term to coin, is the Bagul scene, because like I think about that, like speaking of that with like The Exorcist, which we will talk about at some point, um, is like that it would be so much less scary if there was like a scene where like they literally like they have the priest in Iraq, and he sees like the statue of Pazuzu, but that's not like them literally saying this demon is Pazuzu. Yeah, again, I'll get into this more in the or again if we ever do an Exorcist episode. But the implication is not that it's literally that demon; it's that like Pazuzu, that statue was based on whatever that is, who is
Mm-hmm.
older than any religion, it's older than Christianity or Judaism or, these like
Yeah.
ancient Mesopotamian things. It's just some dark thing that has existed since like the beginning of humanity. So it's like that. It's just different depictions of the same thing. It's not like, oh yeah, no, it's this guy. It was actually, you thought it was this thing, but it's actually this thing. It's just like a very like straightforward reading of it. Yeah.
You could have a scene like they do in the new Exorcist movie where they have a super exorcism with all religions. God, I could go off on that movie. That would take up the bulk of this episode. We'll have to save that.
Yeah. but yeah, so I like that it is just like the only that first scene where we see the monster approaching was like I was just almost kind of darkly funny how fucked up it is that he like knocks out this girl, drags her to like this abandoned parking building, and then is just like wheeling her around in a wheelchair and being like, yeah, you see, you believe me, right? That this thing is coming. And then just seeing this like person just like walking in a complete straight line, like Terminator style, and being like, see, you get it? It's following you right now, and that's like, it's just such a good, like, of course she's like fucking traumatized after that because, like what a horrific scenario to be like randomly put into after you just had like the, this whirlwind of emotions and, you just had sex for the first time with this like hot new guy. Oh, by the way, this actor.
Who is he? Yeah, what's the actor for?
I wanted to bring this up because I recognized him immediately.
Who is it?
He is the bully character from the Nickelodeon Fred series. the YouTuber Fred.
Yes, I've probably seen one of those movies. I can't. How did you? Yeah,
from the Fred TV movies. I recognize him because I watched the Quentin reviews videos that were talking about the like, that he did it like right before doing all the like Nickelodeon like iCarly and shit. He did one on like Fred where he talked about like, the web series, then he talked about the Nickelodeon like movies and everything, and then he talked about like Fred after, like the web series was done and like the aftermath and everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that like bully character that has like yaoi tension with Fred, like,
is his name Kevin?
He just has such a distinct like douchey guy face. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but he just like looks like that kind of character that I was like, oh my god, is that fucking guy from the Fred show? And then I looked it up and I was like, it is Jake Weary.
You're right. So, I would have never guessed that in a million fucking years.
No, absolutely not. Also, another thing that I thought was like cool, as far as like things that most people probably wouldn't know or care about, was that the soundtrack, as I was listening to it, I was like, this sounds really familiar. Like, why is this sounds like from like an indie game or something that I played? And I checked, and the music is by the artist Disaster Piece, who did the music for an indie game I really enjoy, Hyper Light Drifter, which came out. Yeah, it came out around the same time as this movie, so I think that he was just like getting a lot of work. I think it was 2014, maybe 2013 when that came out.
This movie's soundtrack is one of the highlights for sure, and it's so simple too. Like just think like that, like that, like anxiety-inducing noise, like when it's what scene is it? Oh, when she's in the college and the old woman, it's like her first kind of encounter with it. Where she's asking, can anybody see that? And it's just keep like, it's so scary. This movie is like there are parts that are like sphincter tightening, scary.
Yeah, I'd say that the absolute most stress that I felt. There's a couple scenes. The first time was when, it's like her and is it Paul, who's her like childhood friend?
Yeah.
Who, they're like sitting on the couch and like reminiscing and everything, and it's like a very like sweet scene,
Talking about finding porn magazines. Just
yeah.
I love that detail.
And then they hear like the window break, and immediately I was like, "Fuck!" And then when she like is slowly going into the kitchen, I'm like, "God damn it!" They're like really ratcheting up the tension because like she doesn't want to do it. You don't want to see what she's going to see. You know, like you don't want anything to do with that. So like it's just like building up that tension, and then like what she sees is like so disgusting that you know it like absolutely pays that off.
Yeah, it's like
And
a ghost from The Shining. The
yeah.
form this thing takes.
And then like later when you know she like bars herself up in her room, and then like the people on the outside are like, come on, we're being crazy about that, just open the door. And then that's like that entire thing, I'm like, what a nightmare. Like what a complete fucking nightmare this whole scenario must be, because her like you know letting the people in, and then it's fine, and then they hear another knock and they're like, what the fuck is that? Like now the people in the room with her are like locked in and freaked out, and then it's just like Paul's sister, and then from behind her the thing starts like walking, like you see it
Yeah,
coming
it's
into
really tall
frame.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes your stomach drop. Oh, speaking of this group of friends, there's an actor pull for me that I know you won't recognize this person,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
their friend Yara, the one who has the weird clamshell phone.
Mm-hmm.
So she is one of the two leads in probably my favorite horror anthology show, Channel Zero.
Yeah.
She's the lead in a season called Butcher's Block, which is based off of a creepypasta called Search and Rescue Woods.
Okay.
That's the one
Uh,
that's about staircases that appear in the middle of like a national park.
oh yeah, yeah. I actually do know that because of just being a guy who goes on the internet. But I will say I watched the first season of Channel
That's
Zero,
right.
and I do want to watch more, which was the one based on the
Yeah.
Candle Cove, and that was pretty good, and like surprisingly good
Every
given.
season just gets better. Like it's
Yeah,
such a
because
good show.
yeah, like you hear the idea of like, oh, a network is doing a show based on creepypastas, and you're like, this is gonna be fucking garbage. But then it actually turned out really good.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I believe you that like it will, like it just improves in quality from
Yeah,
there.
well, it's the same, or for the, it's most of the same creative team who do like the Chucky television series. It's like one of the only things
Mm,
Don Mancini has worked on besides Chucky. So that's this is
yeah.
tangential. We're back talking about the Fallouts. But yeah, no, I forgot that I think it's Olivia Lucardi is the one who is the actress who
Mm,
plays Yara. I was like, I recognize
yep.
anywhere. I know that's her.
Yeah, yeah. That's yeah, exactly. That's how I felt with Jake Weary, I guess. Where I was like, I saw his like he has like a furrowed brow look to him that is just like very distinct. And yeah, it's just very
Oh,
very funny. I yeah, go ahead.
he he like is like good casting for a bully. Like there's a lot of
Yeah,
there's plenty of actors that like that are typecast like that.
yeah, yeah. And again, like I said, I'm sure he's a nice guy. I did want to give a shout out to like they did pick the absolute most perfect characters to be like, oh, her childhood friend who has a crush on her but they can't speak up,
Mhm.
and also like the hot guy across the street. Like both of those characters, like they look exactly like their roles.
Mhm.
You know, like they embody those roles so perfectly. And like Paul specifically like looks like such a guy that I knew when I was in high school, you know, like that kind
Sweet.
of like yeah, dweeby like soft boy. Um
And all of the
and
character
like
dynamics you like. Go ahead.
no, no, go ahead. I
Uh,
was just gonna move on.
all the character dynamics are like you said, you understand that without it like being hit over your head. Like you can just like pick
Yeah.
up on it by watching like the character interactions. It's like the this movie's strength, I would say, is like the characters and like how immersive it feels with like the setting and the tone. Like
Mm-hmm.
the all of the locations feel so lived in. Like it's set Detroit, and you really get a good sense of like different areas of Detroit. Uh,
Yeah.
they even talk during a scene when they're walking towards the pool about how like growing up they were never allowed to go across 8 Mile because that's like
Hmm.
the division line between like the I don't want to say the good or bad parts of the city. Like the
Sure.
different the economic are very different.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The projects versus like the more well off, which is like also something that came up in Barbarian. Is that
Second
like that
Michigan
part
movie.
of yeah, yeah. But what I was gonna say, the the setting is really strong, and it feels very, but it also feels very like uh claustrophobic in a way, especially like those scenes of like Jay just like sitting in her room or like sitting somewhere and just like dreading just existence, because it's like she can't spend a single moment calm because of this thing that's happened to her. And you can kind of see how it drove the previous guy completely nuts, like that he would be willing to do that, and
Mm-hmm.
like just foist it onto some random girl and then just like get the fuck out of there. And we learn that he like faked his identity and like faked his home address and everything so that they couldn't like backtrack and
Mm-hmm.
find him. They eventually do, and he's surprisingly very like receptive to it and like, all right, I'll help you out. But yeah,
Yeah.
just like those moments of even quiet are like so stressful because you really don't know. You're always like scanning the background,
Mm-hmm.
or like these things to see like, is that fucking thing coming? Like, is something coming?
Well,
And
that scene when
mm,
they go to learn more information about the guy, he gave the name Hugh. I don't know if what I can't remember what his real name is, but uh, when they go to get more
mm,
information, they go to his old high school, and we see there is that thing walking towards her the entire time, but it's never like focused on. And there's no like
mm,
music cues. It's just excuse me. But yeah, it's just like it's just there constantly. So it's like yeah, just this fucking thing Jay has to deal with, like
yeah.
regardless of the yeah.
And
And
it's like it you would think because it's walking, like it is slow. It's like a slow approach. But like because they're not driving that far from, like, it is like a maybe like a 20-mile radius or something,
yeah.
that they're like driving in like just around like the city area. Um like it's always like if they just rest for like a day or two,
It'll catch
it
up.
will eventually come. Yeah, just because it's just relentless pursuit. Like it can't die, it can't get tired or anything. There's that scene on the beach,
Another
which is
highlight.
like yeah, well, like this is such a good scene because like it caught me off guard too, where I was like, oh yeah, that's that girl, and then I put it together like, oh fuck, and
Because she floats
then
by in a floaty, and you realize, oh fuck, there's two of them. It's
yeah.
probably not, and it is probably not the one on the floaty.
Hmm. And then just like that moment, like I think what me really made me like gasp was Paul like picking up the chair and like breaking it against it, and then it like whacks him away and like sends him fucking flying and like cuts his ribs and everything. Like it actually like fucks him up by just like whacking him away. So this thing is really strong too, which is like, makes sense given that it apparently ripped that lady's legs, like bent them backwards. Uh, and then like, yeah, just like going into the beach house and like locking themselves in there. Um, like just a very good like tense scene. Yeah.
It also adds like this is another movie where I love that they give these kids guns because it adds to
Mm-hmm.
the tension because they are not good shots at all, and this
Yeah.
happens multiple times where you're like, stop shooting the gun, please. And it's not like a cheesy like '80s thing where a kid is like a perfect shot. Like it
Mm-hmm.
adds to the tension them having it.
Yeah. One of the girls gets fucking shot on accident,
Hmm.
which I would be like pissed. I know it's a life or death scenario, regardless, but I'd be pissed as fuck
Yeah,
if
I'd be so mad at Paul. Never
you
let him look
know,
again.
like yeah, like remember when you fucking shot me because you couldn't hit the thing that was right in front of you?
Hmm.
But again, like yeah, it just kind of proves that like if you're like kids with a gun and you're not trained or anything, I think even like people that are trained like with a pistol, it's like a close range weapon, so
Well,
like
like,
they could still miss pretty easily.
I mean, during that final, like the final showdown when in the pool, Paul has taken some really risky shots into that pool. He's almost hitting Jay.
Yeah, I was like, God, he has a lot of confidence that
Mhm.
he can hit this thing that he can't see. I do love that it's showing up and it starts just fucking chucking like all the electric equipment that they brought at Jay. Like it's just like there's something really fascinating about the way that this thing operates. Where at first I thought like, okay, maybe it's like an unstoppable like not even a force of nature, but just like a thing that just makes a beeline towards you and then kills you through like any obstacle. Uh, but it actually does have like
Some level of
like
intellect.
lateral thinking, like
Yeah.
some kind of like intelligence to it. It's not just like an automatic like death march towards you. Like I said, it takes a swipe at one of the other characters that it's not trying to kill, just to like get it away from it. And then during that scene, it understands that like like on some level that going into the pool is a bad idea, so I'm just gonna start throwing things. Like it's more efficient if I just electrocute her in
Hmm.
this pool than if
Yeah,
I try to go in there myself and try to like drown her or whatever.
because like, and earlier on, like I think when they're one of the times when they're driving somewhere, we see that it's like standing on the roof of a house. So it does
Yeah.
like the behavior of this thing is like completely unknowable, and I really like that.
Mm.
And like, there's again, there's no name for it. The kids just call it it, which I mean,
Mm.
I like that, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
let's
Oh
see.
yeah. You know what? This It follows a couple years before they made It.
Hmm.
So interesting. Uh, There you go. I mean,
Let's
not
see.
that interesting. It's just a funny coincidence, but
Yeah,
you know.
so the kids have their. I I remember that being one of the things that I kind of I don't know if take issue with, but I remember the first time I watched this movie, I thought that just the plan with the kids made no sense and was dumb,
Mm-hmm.
and like, why would they think of that? And like
Mm-hmm.
rewatching it, I was able like, okay, yeah, I mean, I guess that's like the only thing that they could come up with in this like high stress situation. I mean, they got to
Yeah.
do something, so I was down with it this time. So,
Yeah. I think that the stakes like kept on being raised and everything. Because eventually like Jay crashes and breaks her arm and everything and gets put into the hospital, which again that was a very stressful moment of her waking up in the hospital and realizing, fuck, how long have I been out? Like how close is this thing to me? Like now after I like got away from it and then hearing like the footsteps down the hall, and being like freaked out what it could possibly be when you're in such a like vulnerable position where you really can't move or
mhm.
do anything at that point. And then like at that point is when her and what's his name, what's the hot guy,
Right.
yeah, where they have sex in the hospital. By the way, I do want to say this, and
Mhm.
I thought of this as a joke, I guess, but it's also like part of stupid internet discourse. This is a movie with extremely necessary sex scenes, because you
Yeah.
like literally the thing operates via like it's transferred through sex, and again, whether or not that's like literally just a metaphor for STDs or something else, I think that you're right with it being like more about adulthood than it is about
Just like
that
an STD.
specifically.
Yeah.
Um, like we literally do need to see them having sex in order to understand like, okay, this
Which
is a hugely impactful moment in terms of the plot because now the thing will be tracing this person that just had sex with. So
which is why it's so brilliant and makes you question when they only imply a sex scene but don't show it. Like we see Greg
yes.
talking to some girls at the mall, And then
Mm.
towards the end, after Jay and Paul have the world's saddest sex scene I think I've ever seen, uh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we see him driving and looking at like some prostitutes on the corner, but we're never shown
Mm-hmm.
confirmation of him doing it. It just adds to like the unease. Like, did he go through with it? Did he not? Like, how safe
Yeah.
are they?
Yeah, and similarly with like Jay, like at one point, like swimming out to a bunch of guys on a boat,
That's right.
and
Hmm.
it's just yeah, and it's just like those see like you said, like just it being implication, like because that is like all right, you're it's left up to your imagination, and then makes it even more gut wrenching when it turns out. Oh, it didn't even delay the inevitable that long. It still just like eventually worked its way through, and it's like coming for her again.
Because
Oh, excuse
my,
me.
because like my mind, like specifically going to like the prostitute plan, my mind is like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
Paul gives it to the prostitute, who would then give it to the next guy that has sex with him, or has sex with
Mm-hmm.
her. Sorry, Jesus.
Yeah.
But how often do men who hire prostitutes have sex? Because that would he would
Yeah.
need to pass it off to somebody else, which that could potentially be a dead end right there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Like he probably would either have sex with the same person or with nobody at all, and then die, and then like yeah, bam, dead end. Like you, man, it's like a very
You
short-sighted
you
plan there.
if you need to go to like one of like the gay circuit parties, like the 50 load weekends, and then
Yeah.
just really gave yourself a big
Yeah, and I did want to ask though, like I said, there's like always the discourse about like unnecessary sex scenes online. I think that it's stupid as hell personally, just because like I can't think of a single time. I mean, I guess there are things where I've watched where it's like, all right, did they really need to have this sex scene or whatever? But like most of the time, it is just like I don't know. It doesn't it like build the characters? Doesn't it like inform you of them and their relationship or whatever in some way?
Mhm.
Like if a couple is having sex towards the beginning of a movie and you can tell that it's just kind of like we're going through the routine, whatever, we're having sex, then it kind of informs you that maybe they're in a rut, maybe they're like
Mhm.
whatever, they're drifting apart for whatever reason, or if it's like still very loving, then like you can get that from the characters. Like there's a million ways I can think of
If it's
why
yeah,
sex scenes would be necessary in like anything. So
yeah, if it's just like I don't know, like cheap shit that exists just to show an actress's breasts, like, but not be
mhm.
considered a porno movie. Like, you know the kind
Yeah.
of movies I'm talking about. Like, yeah, that's irritating, but like, I don't know. If I'm watching, like, say, Friday the 13th, I've never really given a shit about like the sex scenes. I mean, they are just dumb kids out in the woods. Of course, they're
Hmm.
gonna be fucking like rabbits.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I was thinking, where it's like, yeah, of course there's probably an element of Greg, or what is this? Is Greg? Yeah, yeah. Greg being like, oh, okay. She said that this is how this thing works. So I'm going to have sex with her, and then now I can be a part of this and like help her better. Even though like it's also like not entirely clear if he 100% believes her, because like after a day or two, he's like, no, nothing has happened. Um,
It's unclear what
and then
exactly
of
he
course he
sees on the beach.
yeah so like in my opinion, I think uh the like that scene could easily just be like, well, who cares about this inevitable death thing, whatever. uh I just want to fuck you because you're hot and I'm attracted to you. Like that's the thing, and that's like a very telling scene too, that it's like yeah, like these people are like infatuated with each other. They've like gone through like this trauma and everything, and like also like they have these like feelings and everything, and are like working them out, and it's like a huge mistake, obviously, because one of them fucking dies, but like it's a understandable mistake in the realm of like you really can't, like let the fear of death or the fear of the inevitable get in the way of like these simple pleasures in life.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying is like it could either be like a lore tactic trying to like help her out or whatever. Like I just like that it's not explained. Like he's not like, all right, I'm gonna have sex with you so that I can blah, blah, blah. Like we just see it happening at one point in the hospital, and then we understand like fuck. Now he's like really wrapped into this. Like how like what's going to happen to him, and so that makes it even like worse when he like
yeah.
doesn't believe it at first and then gets killed. So
And it doesn't even like help Jay out at all because now instead of looking over her shoulder, she is constantly just forced to watch his fucking house. Like
yeah.
it like you understand how yeah, like how Hugh ended up the way that he did. Which
Mm-hmm.
he is a Hugh is probably one of the more interesting characters in this movie for me because
Yeah.
like what he does to Jay like is really fucked up and awful.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, like I don't know, I get a sense of like you know in different circumstances he wouldn't have done what he does. And the
Yes.
movie,
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like he's like forced into this, or he feels like he's forced into this position because he's probably been through multiple examples of like maybe like accidentally passing it on to other people and then they die and then
yeah,
like feeling like the guilt from that and feeling like just the terror of the stalker coming towards him, and probably why he like lives in at least one other location is so that he can like get some
yeah.
sleep, like drive home, sleep there, drive to that other location, sleep there.
He has a safe
uh
house and like his family house, which is like in like a really nice neighborhood, which like
mhm.
um but yeah, I never got a sense of like the movie making you want to be like, oh, you want to see this guy get his comeuppance for wronging the protagonist. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
It's very mature and like measured, I guess, about that.
mhm.
Uh, it's like very interesting to like even think about because again, like what he did is like objectively really horrific and fucked up, but like the situation they're in is like existentially so fucked up that it's like kind
It's
of hard to blame anybody for taking like these extreme measures. And then like yeah, you can like it's not like the characters that we are following are like free from any judgment. Like
mhm.
if it was the case that Jay had sex with some random guys on a boat, then like all like those guys or at least one of those guys is also dead. And then
Yeah.
like she also passed it on to like her neighbor, like
Or Paul's idea. Or,
yeah, and Paul, yeah, exactly. Like it's just like these are not, it reminds me a lot of Ring, where it's like it ends with this implication that like, the main
oh yeah,
character's gonna
that's
pass it
right.
on to her father,
Hmm.
like gonna pass it on to her father, and it's like that's pretty fucked up, but it's also like you can kind of expect, that the chain could end there because there's no way that the grandpa, like this old man is gonna be like, all right, let me pass on this internet urban legend on to like other people, and then do whatever. So it had that same thing where it's like you feel that like stress and anxiety, and you understand why in that movie she made that decision because it was to protect her son.
Yeah.
Um, and she even like in her head like apologizes, like I'm sorry, Dad, but this is to protect your grandson. Uh, and again, like I like that. I like that like horror movies that really do push people to the edge of discomfort as far as like
What are you
you
willing to
can really
do
relate.
to protect the like
Yeah,
what matters to you? Hmm.
yeah, exactly. Like your like the survival instinct of like sometimes you have to make moral compromises, and I think that that's what makes like Paul accidentally shooting that girl. Like they're probably like, okay, fuck you because it hurts a lot and I had to go to the hospital, but also I get it because our friend was
Trying to
about
save
to
her life.
die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And none of our characters, I mean, I guess with the exception of like Yara and Jay's sister, are
Mm-hmm.
really given any closure, because I mean, there's no,
Mm-hmm.
like, the movie ends with them just walking down the street and there's somebody behind them, but we have no way of knowing if that's that thing or not. Like, these
Mm-hmm.
characters are gonna have to live the rest of their lives looking over their shoulder until the day they die.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Which is
it's
like,
so scary.
yeah, exactly. It's just like it is such a fucked up thing, but again, like if you look at it as like if you zoom out and like look at that as like a metaphor for like either just the inevitability of death or just like or tragedy in general, like that kind of thing, like a dark pursuer that no matter how you can only delay it, you can never
Hmm.
stop it permanently. Is just like I do like that there's at least like, oh, if you shoot it in the skull, it'll fall down, but then it'll just get right back up. Like that feels like almost more cruel that it like tricks you for a second into thinking that you took
Hmm.
care of it, but then it's like Mr. X in Resident Evil 2 or something where it just like gets back up, or Nemesis or something. And you're like, fuck,
And
this thing is still coming after me.
and like we see it, like, from Jay's POV when it's in the pool, we see like it is bleeding and like
Mm-hmm.
maybe it is dead. I don't think,
Yeah.
but we are never given a sense of like full closure. Like, I don't think that thing's fucking dead.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but I guess we'll find that out in the sequel, which comes out this year.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm very curious to see like where the sequel takes it and
Hmm.
everything. Like I guess maybe we should maybe like I don't know if we should do like a follow-up episode or whatever, but I guess if we're going to do it for Terrifier, then maybe we should do it um for this. I don't know. Like if we're
I,
going to do Terrifier 4 at some point, then
well, of
maybe
course we are.
like yeah, then this like if Falls 2 comes out, we can like use that week that it comes out to watch that. And of course we got to watch fucking FNAF 2. Dear
Well,
lord.
I speaking on that topic, I my movie I've selected for next week is actually
Mhm.
28 weeks later.
Oh, cool. So we're getting around to it.
Um,
Especially cuz like the third movie is
that's like
soon, right?
next
Like
month, I think.
yeah. So I'm pretty excited to check out 28 weeks later and then eventually the 28 years later. Because the first one was so good. That is just like, yeah, I'm
Probably my
very excited
favorite
to
we've
check that
watched so
out.
far, honestly.
Yeah, it's pretty high up there. Like I would have to think about it. I think like either that or Nope would be
Oh yeah,
my favorite, but Nope specifically because like that has a lot of the like that
things
Discuss All
catered,
Monsters DNA in
things
it.
catered to you
Yeah.
specifically. Yeah.
Yeah. But 28 Days Later was also like, oh god, that was so good. But yeah, this movie was also very good. So I am interested to see. I'm a little bit skeptical to see how they pull off a sequel to this, just because like I don't know if it's going to be like if it's just going to be like okay, the same scenario but with different characters.
Well,
Um,
like it is
you know.
the same director, and Micah Monroe is set to return. Whether or not she's as the lead, or they might kill her off in the
Mm,
opening scene. Who knows?
yeah. And like yeah, and again, like I saw her and she really did look like some of my like younger cousins and stuff like that. Or like I don't know, there was just like I mentioned, like all these people in the movie really did look like kids. I guess now that I'm in the process of turning 30 this year, maybe I just see people who are like in their early 20s or like late teens. I just see them as little
Oh no,
babies now.
oh no, we're both going through
Um,
that. I'm starting to thin on top.
yeah. But yeah,
Mhm.
that's just it's funny. Um, but okay, Cody, where can we find you?
Find me here on my YouTube channel. I'm on Twitter. My name on there is Gay Boomhauer. You can find my IMDb page linked below. And I'm actually working on making my own little horror short at sometime this summer.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm excited to see that. Go on Twitter and Blue Sky at WazBranger, WAZP Ranger. Mostly stream of consciousness stuff, but I do post about like videos I'm making and podcasts I'm doing. My main podcast that I do with our friend Morgan is Cartoon Buffoons, where we go through every Cartoon Network series in order. Some truly fucking terrible shows, but mostly good. You know, sometimes we get a robot boy or my gym partner is a monkey in there, but you know, sometimes we get the good shit.
What the fuck is?
And yeah, so like go. It's really bad. Don't worry about it. So go to, yeah. But It's Only Magic is the Patreon. That's also for my YouTube channel in general. So go there. $3. You get Cartoon Buffoons a week early. If you only got $1, that's fine. Still get like my videos a couple days early, and you get Wow Cool Robot, which is me and my friend Wayne going through every single robot in existence and reviewing them. We have like over 100 episodes at this point, so that's a pretty good investment if you just want to pay $1 on that Patreon. So check it out. But all right, that'll do it for this episode of Horror Hole. Join us next time as we talk about 28 Weeks Later. Drop my pen. See you there.
See you there.